Yo guys, this is Reinhardt, this is your favorite Russian talking, and today we're going to be nerd analyzing about a different spec of Unholy decays called Breath of Syndragosa that actually let us burst. Wait, what? Unholy can burst? Well, yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the spec itself. So, first of all, as you guys can see, a little bit different changes. We go with a Plague Lich, Dust Siphon, and Breath of Syndragosa. The playstyle is actually going to be completely different, where you're not much focused on prolonging your disease or making Necrotic Plague last as long as possible on the 15 stacks. You're actually more interested into building as much runic power as possible for the Breath of Syndragosa burst. Another cool thing about Breath of Syndragosa is that it actually does give you Shadow Infusion stacks also. And it's a very simple way of actually building it, because while you're using it, you also build up runic power using your runes, so you actually can stack up faster. With the proc trinkets, activate trinkets and everything else, Breath of Syndragosa will actually be a #1 on damage. Obviously it depends how long the fight lasts. It will fall off because it's a 2-minute cooldown, but let's talk a little bit about the Breath of Syndragosa in terms of playstyle. So the very simple playstyle, you try to build up as much runic power as possible, and that's where a Plague Lich comes in handy. You pretty much do like Plague Strike, 2 Festering Strikes, or Chain of Ice, whatever it is that you situationally need to use, and then you Plague Lich and you into another Plague Strike as well. That way you build up a lot of runic power. Obviously, if you want to build up that Shadow Infusion stacks, you're more than welcome to. It does take time. And sometimes it actually requires for you to sit on your Shadow Infusion for just a little bit longer to make sure your stun goes out, make sure you get your Fallen Crusader proc. But after that, you are good to go, sir. And obviously Breath of Syndragosa works very well essentially with everything. With your activated trinkets, with your empowered runic weapon, and also with the gargoyle, because while your Breath of Syndragosa does damage, your gargoyle also does damage, so does your Scourge Strikes do damage, and that's why the choice and the PvP itself gets very bursted, because you have a lot of sources doing a lot of damage. And the beautiful thing about Syndragosa is, one thing is you can still be Scourge Striking, you can still be using your runes and your Death Scroll procs if you're running an Unholy Presence, while you are bursting with the Breath of Syndragosa. So what are the sources of damage that are going to be coming in? Breath of Syndragosa, your dots, your gargoyle, your ghoul, and your Scourge Strikes, your runic abilities. All of those matched together, and Unholy Decay would probably have one of the highest bursts in the game. I kid you not, it's actually very strong and powerful burst, and I'm gonna show you in a couple duels. But let's look a little bit on the recount for the current fight. So in the current fight I did 900k damage, and Mark of Syndragosa did roughly about, had a 9 ticks and roughly about 13 to 14k damage. Now you will say it's on a dummy. Well, actually damage between a dummy and actual players is very similar in Warlords of Draenor. So the spec by itself actually is quite the opposite from the other one I told you before, which the link to that you can find in the descriptions below. It basically provides you with more sustained healing, because you can actually do a Death Siphon, lots of Death Siphoning, and then you can also do Plague Lich. And with the Plague Lich, obviously you can do 2 Death Siphons again, and Death Siphon heals for tons. It's a really strong and potent healing in general by itself. It almost heals as much as a Death Strike, but it requires 1 rune instead. So this spec is all about really good lined up burst damage, which I can see actually be viable in 1v1, 2v2 and 3v3. Of course it's very situational. For RBGs and Ashran, I would say Necrotic Plague spec will take over. But this also spec offers you sustained damage, versus Necrotic Plague spec that actually has less sustained healing, more sustained damage, and more burst healing. This spec has less burst healing, more sustained healing, and more burst damage. So quite the opposite playstyle, but it's also very strong. But let's look at a couple duels. Quite a bit. for one main particular reason, because I want you to actually see what was going on and how much actual damage it's going to do. I'm going to deal Frost Decay, and if you didn't know, Frost Decay actually has more sustained healing than Unholy, because conversion for them is actually a lot cheaper. And Decay vs Decay deals usually lasts about 5 minutes to infinity. Against a good Frost Decay, they usually not able to kill me, and I'm usually not able to kill them. Now this Decay actually popped IBF, so I do have a really great opportunity here to pop, to stun them, at least force the trinket of desecrated ground, and at the same time burst with the Mark of Syndragosa. Now if you can see, I did build up quite a bit of runic power, and I don't have empowered runic weapon, which will actually make it a lot stronger. So I'm actually using my Plague Lich here for extra runes, and I'm puking all over his ass pretty much right now. With a Mark of Syndragosa and everything else, and a small pet stun, and just using Soul Reapers and make sure Soul Reapers go off, I was able to actually hold him down below 45% HP and essentially kill him. Guys, you usually don't see that, or won't be able to see that in Decay versus Decay duel, for one main particular reason, because they last forever. Because Decay's healing is actually extremely strong. Now, if you look at the recount itself, Mark of Syndragosa is actually going to be my #1 damage. Mark of Syndragosa does more damage than Scourge Strikes, more damage than, about the same damage as Death Coil. The only difference is Death Coils require global cooldown, and it's a 30 runic power cast. While Mark of Syndragosa is 15 runic power cast, it does have a small range, but you can be using Scourge Strikes in the meantime as well. So if you're sitting at a good amount of runic power, and if you have a few runes that you can get away with, Mark of Syndragosa will do a really strong burst. So this one is, I'm dealing the red, and basically I try to duel against the live lords that actually can sustain against us really well. So like reds, other decays, or ferals, those are the biggest live lords right now actually in the duels. So in this case, again, you see me fucking around because I'm actually just building up my ring power. Now I have 10 seconds left on my proc trinket, so I'm gonna pop my burst right now, stun him, and puke all over his beautiful face. He popped a cooldown which reduces magic damage by 40%, but even with that, and the healing from the wings, and pretty much everything else, he is still gonna croak like a motherfucker from just a pure single unholy pressure burst. I'm gonna get stunned here right now, and I'm gonna interrupt that heal. My one Soul Reaper goes off, I'm gonna be putting another Soul Reaper on, and obviously I'm gonna be striking into his ass as well, which forces the pure red paladin to bubble. And after that, that's it, he is done. His wings are down, he has no good Flash of Light procs, instant Flash of Light procs, and he couldn't heal for that much in the bubble. Obviously I'm extremely risky, I could have copied the bubble and all shit like that, but let's look at just the damage meters and numbers. At the end, I'm stunning him again, Soul Reaper goes off, and he dies. It's an extremely strong spec, an extremely strong burst.